welcome back to Season 2 of Black Spark Cafe podcast. This is our time of the week to discuss all things ratchet, trending, political, and in between. We are super excited about today's episode because we will be having a raw, uncandid conversation about a controversial issue, particularly Donald Glover's This Is America video. We also have two guests, Jarvis Guthrie and Kevin Monroe, who will both share their perspective about the unraveling of the community. But before we dive into this heavy conversation, y'all, let's check in with everyone. How is everybody doing?
Good.
It's been an exciting week for me, and thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome.
It's been a long, trying week, but hey, we're doing what we can.
Cool. For me, this week has been cool. It's been quite a week, but we making it. Somebody just had a birthday.
Yeah.
Hashtag number chapter. What chapter
Don't
is
do
this?
32.
Don't do chapters.
Yeah, 32. Chapter 32. It was. I've had a great week. A great week so far. So looking forward to finishing it out.
And anything else you want to tell the people?
That's it. What that?
Sure. Second.
Oh, so
wedding
it's my
anniversary. Like how you forget that?
Well, I mean, it happens. Yeah, I mean, it happens the same time every. So it's either Father's Day, and then it goes Father's Day, my wedding anniversary, and then my birthday, like every year. So
that's a pretty big deal.
yeah. So well, we celebrate all in one. So and then each year we kind of figure out who plans it. So.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Whose year was it to plan?
This was my year.
Ooh,
this was.
I know
my
it was
year.
a mess.
Yeah.
It was a hot mess, wasn't it?
No. Actually, we had a blast. Why is you?
She trying to turn the hot seat on somebody else, man.
I'm like, why is you coming for me?
I'm not coming for you, friend. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to be a little nosy, to see what was
No, you
going
just celebrated your birthday.
I did. 2 weeks ago.
While you was on vacation last week, I went on vacation this week. Yeah.
And then somebody else has a birthday. But we're not going to go there. It's okay, though. All right, y'all. So we are here to talk about This Is America, of course. So on May 5th, Danny Glover, also known as Childish Gambino, he dropped the song This Is America on YouTube, and it instantly received over 60 million views.
This is America. Don't got you slipping up. Look how I'm living up. Police be tripping up. Yeah, this is America.
Now he has close to 300 million views. The message is super powerful, a little bit graphic. It also contains some raw symbolism about the oppression and desensitivity of violence, police brutality, and it essentially explains slavery in the right now America. In an interview, Glover basically stated that when he was asked, tell the people what your message was, he basically said, it's not my idea, it's not my place to tell people what to think about the video. He kind of left it open for interpretation. So let me ask you guys, before we even dive into anything else, what is your interpretation of the This Is America video?
I always let the guests go first. So.
Well, just from my perspective, This Is America. They would see me as J476666, but my actual name is Jarvis Guthrie. I'm a first-time offender, and I've seen a lot throughout the system. And the biggest thing that popped out to me was the first scene after Danny is dancing. He immediately goes to a black man with a bag over his head and shoots him. So that image really resonated something. So I looked up some statistics, and it says that 93% of black victims were killed by blacks and 84% of white victims were killed by whites. I've seen the majority of the African-American culture in the prison system. We get more sentences and we get violated the most. So I was looking at it as a perspective from going through the system. I see a lot of nonviolent offenses, and that image just spoke to me because I feel like this video really needs to stop with the excuses and it's time for empowerment. If you're able to look at a square has four corners. As a black individual, we have the prison system against us. We have black on black crime against us. We have poverty against us, and we have the environment against us. So that's how I looked at that video. Because what would have been really powerful, what I was thinking before Crystal made me do all this research on the video is why didn't Donald have a white person playing his character? He was black himself. You know, he wanted to portray this image. I mean, as a black person, do we look at this video as this is what white people is doing to this? Or are we saying, wow, we are really doing this to ourselves? So, because my mom's white, my dad's black, but I'm a black man. So I kind of see things two ways.
Both sides, yeah.
You know, both sides. First, I looked at it as a black person. Then I looked at it as a white person.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good perspective. That's good perspective. What you got?
So when I saw it, I was actually elated. And I watched it again with my daughter. And she loves the first part. We have a lot of raw conversations at my house because she just turned 12 and she needs to know point blank. And so I like his observation, what he said, why didn't he have a white person play this character? And I believe that was one of the points that Glover was trying to make, is that this is America. There's a lot going on. But if you notice, he was the main distraction in all of it. I like that you saw the choir that comes out and they're singing. He's right there with it, and then he turns around and he fires off. I think if he would have had a white character play him during it, he would have automatically got a backlash. People wouldn't have watched it, this, that, and the other. It would have been too political, this, that, and the other. But because he did it himself, people were like, hey, you know, what's going on? What's it? And I think, obviously, with the choir, that was a terrible homage to the victims, the 9 victims that were shot in the church. And when I went back during the time, I found out that the white kid, he sat there and had service with him. He sat there and had service with him. They prayed for him. And that was one of the statements he made, is that, you know, I didn't want to kill him, but it was what it was. And what I pointed out to my daughter is there was so much care for each gun. Every gun that he used, they put it in a cover and they just left the bodies. And I think that was what struck me as odd. Every time we saw something, there was something else going in the background that we couldn't really pay attention to. We saw it partly. The dances that he kept doing. That's how and be honest, that's how our culture is. We have developed a sense of dark humor. So, you know, I don't know this rapper's name, XXX Extension.
XX
Tentacion or something like that.
Yeah,
Tentacion.
Yeah. So him, I didn't know of him until what recently happened. But people out there, they're making jokes. They're this and the other. We're saying, hey, well, we shouldn't say rest in peace because of this, that, and that. It's a natural thing that we've had. I take it all the way back to when some of our people were slaves and they started singing in the field. Some white folks thought it was okay. They happy, they're singing. But it's a way of us adapting. And so we'll quickly turn off from a tragedy to the latest jam, and we're back in there. So that's what I took.
When I first saw the video, I wasn't even ready. Like, I had read comments and things about it, but other than that, I was like, you know what? Everybody's talking about this video. Let me go ahead and look at it. So I agree with the scene when the beginning he's dancing, somewhere alluding to the fact that was what we did in the olden days of slavery. This is the kind of dancing we did that white people paid, you know, to really look at. And when he took out the gun and shot that man in the head, like in the first minute, I was like, dang, that was my brother. That was my cousin. That was my uncle. That was my husband or my boyfriend. And to really just look at that, as a woman, it just made me feel like I don't have the same concerns that men of color have. As a woman, I'm a little bit different. Like, I don't have to walk out the house or worry about police or something like that. I have to worry about my brother or my business partner or my friend or a male in my life. And that terrifies me, that in that scene, it's America. Like, that's what we have to face.
Yeah. I mean, so outside of 6ix9ine, because that's my rapper right now, but that's actually one of my favorite videos. And the reason why is because, first of all, just the fact that they were able to air it, that right there alone has kind of let you know how far society has came. Because something like that, to be able to get that to be aired, to show it in its entirety, like they did, takes a lot. To answer your question, in my opinion, the reason why he didn't have a white man, that would have never been aired. Never been aired. Because at that point, so you have what we call the spoken truth, and then you have what we call the unspoken truth. So yes, all the statistics that you put up are 100% correct, right? It is black on black crime, but we don't speak on that. Do you know what we do speak on? When a white person kills a black person, then we are all in an uproar.
Right.
So when he shows that in the beginning, and he shows, the shooting of the man, he shows the gun, he shows he's doing the dances, and all of them, if you notice, every one of them were all of the latest trends that were just coming out just now. So literally, that's how it works. It works is, okay, well, we just saw this black man get killed on Facebook Live. Right? Now, if it's a black on black crime, you see it, and then the next thing you know, it's a new dance that 6ix9ine came out with because his video dropped, or the next drama on Real Housewives in Atlanta. And I love the fact that how he kind of took that and showed you, like, I can literally give you this truth in literally maybe 5 seconds, show you how graphic it is in 5 seconds, and literally change your attention like that. It's almost like that squirrel effect, literally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for me, by far, it's my favorite video. I haven't shown my kids because to me, it's a little graphic. My kids are 9, 8, and 5. So for me, it's a little graphic. I think my son, they know the song because it plays on the radio, and we play it in the car, so they know the song, but they haven't seen the video. And it's just that video kind of shows you the truth about how, I don't even think it's really about the gun violence and everything. It's really about how easily it is from a media perspective, how the world is either controlled by politicians or media. Media can literally change the topic or change the affair of a topic like that. And I think that's what he was trying to portray. Like, no matter everything that you saw in that video, once it happened, maybe 3 to 5 seconds later, he was doing something completely different that threw you off to what originally happened the first time. So you're like, damn, he just shot that man. Oh, he doing the new dance and everybody, you know what I mean? And you're just like, well, damn, is that how we really are? Is that really how we are? You know?
And I'd like to say something about those stats. It's an old saying that men lie, women lie, numbers don't. But they can be misconstrued. And that's what those numbers are. Think about your neighborhood. Is it primarily black? Are your neighbors black? Or your auntie, cousins, whosoever else, they're black. So it's 94% black on black crime, which is a high number. Then it's 84% white on white crime, which is a high number. But if you live around people who look just like you, you're going to have altercations with people who look just like you. Everybody on Facebook, so you see the videos of black folks fighting, you see the videos of white folks fighting, you see the videos of everybody else fighting. So I'm more likely to have, if you work for 8 hours, you spend, 2 hours in commuting, this, that, and the other, and you're at the house for a good little bit. When you're outside, as soon as you walk, they say you are more likely to die in a car accident a mile away from your house. And you say, wow, that's crazy. Think about how many times you hit these streets versus the streets on the other side of town. Probability, it just says you will get an accident here. You get closer to home, you're trying to rush to get there, take off your shoes, let your feet air out. You're trying your best to get there. And so when we have a 94 rate, I said, well, okay, well, listen, all these places that we think of that are hotbeds of violence and whatever else, are they predominantly one race? Because if I'm going to fight somebody, I'm going to fight somebody who's here. I'm at the house, I'm trying to relax. You starting your lawnmower up 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, like you don't understand what's going on. We going to have an altercation. And so if we're not in mixed communities living with each other, then those numbers won't respect. You look at the 6% for blacks and you look at the 16% for whites. And I guarantee you, obviously those come from a mixed community. When you see a shooting happen on the north side, there's usually more likely it's black on black. You hear a murder happen on the south side, it's usually white on white. So the numbers are true, but we focus in on one and try to make a lie, a narrative for the media.
I mean, I just think, when you look at these numbers, man, and we're saying 94%, like to me, that's shocking. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was that high. Yeah. You know, I didn't think it was that high at all. I thought maybe for black on black crime, it was in the 30s. And then maybe for the white on white crime, it was probably in the 20s and 30s. But I didn't think it was that high. So when you bring to the table that statistics, that lets me know, like, okay, so if we know these numbers, what are we doing about these numbers to help bring them down?
Did anybody see the schoolgirls dancing? That image really had my mind wondering, because regardless of what was going on, he was still maintaining the image of trying to go to school, maybe,
Mhm.
you know, living in poverty, neighborhoods and crime ridden neighborhoods. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was the first image, you know, this man's trying to kill me, regardless of his color. I got to kill this man before he kills me. But I still want to go to school because I want to get out in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see that nothing that's going around Donald is facing him. And then eventually that he's trying to run away from this. And that's when at the end, you know, all the people are chasing him out, even though he's trying to progress of all this violence going on and the police, the shootings, you know, this man wants out. He wants to go to school. But chances are, you know, depending on his mindset and the people who support him, you know, how far is he going to go?
With that interpretation, I never thought of it like that. Since we're talking about what America really looks like, for Jarvis, so for people who don't know you, of course, you have a nonprofit called Saved by Grace. Tell us your story. Tell us exactly what your America looks like.
Well, right now, I'll start with the beginning. I was 18 years old and I decided to go into the Army. I was a 25 uniform, which is a computer specialist. I just had my first child, very excited. I graduated school early. I gave up going to walk on to go play football. I seen my son. I said, I have to make him a better life. So he was born November 30th. I enlisted 2 weeks later. And in January 21st of 2012, I went to a house party with all my friends. We're binging drinking. We're having a good time. I'm tore up. I'm too drunk to drive home. They said, Jarvis, give me your keys. You can't drive. So I go outside to smoke a cigarette. And instead of going back to my friend's house, I walked 4 houses down, got the houses confused, and I kicked down the door. So when I got into the door, I realized that it was a white man. I knew instantly that I'm at the wrong house. I knew instantly I saw something's in trouble. I see a gun pointing towards my head, and I'm fighting for my life. So that night of January 21st, 2012 is very, I only know bits and pieces because of I suffered a concussion and I was drinking. So when I woke up in Clay County Jail, they told me that I'm lucky to be alive. I just broke into a SWAT police officer's house. So I was in Clay County Jail for 13 days. And I was bonded out and I fought my case for 8 months with a paid lawyer. His name's Kevin Cobbin. He's the same lawyer that represented that lady who shot in the air for self-defense, got 20 years. He had represented me, and I was given 2 years in prison as a youthful offender and 3 years on house arrest for my first offense as an adult. So my time in prison, it really changed my life because I seen everything. I seen the stories, I seen the charges, I seen the young men who were just trying to make a way out of poverty, or just people who just made simple mistakes. So getting out of prison, I wanted to continue my path of success. Before prison, I was leaving as an E3 in the Army. So I already had 12 college credits. So I got back in school and I was able to continue my success. So Jarvis Guthrie today, after 4 years out of prison, I have a associate's in science degree in business administration. I have a certificate in business operations. I have a certificate in accounting technology. I have a certificate in business specialist. I have a certificate in business management. I have my Class A CDL. I have a certificate for my forklift operator. I'm a certified warehouse worker. I'm a licensed minister. I'm in the Honor Society with a 3.5 GPA. So I try to get all this paper to show people, you know what, this was a simple mistake. I know I shouldn't went to prison, but you know what, I take responsibility for what I did. So I was trying to get all this piece of paper to outweigh my felony. But regardless of what I accomplish, having that felony, it blackholed me from jobs. I've been denied 4 jobs, making over $50,000 a year because of a felony. So I see that, and that really affects our community because between 65 and 85% of people are violating within the first year. People are unable to get employment. People are unable to get jobs. You cannot provide for a family making $8 an hour. There's not really hope when you have this mental slavery. You can't see that I'm a convicted felon. You'll never know by looking at me, how I dress or how I present myself, or even the things I've accomplished that I went to prison. But once I'm able to apply for a job and they run a background check,
It's all she wrote. Yeah.
So it's time for us to have a lion mentality. You know, a lion is the king of the jungle. It's not the biggest animal. It's not the fastest. It's not the smartest, but it has a killer instinct that is going to accomplish its mission of that meal. And I want my meal. I want my job where I can provide for my 2 kids. I see too many sheep, blind, dumb, and deaf.
No.
I'm sorry. When this happened, you were in the military, correct?
I was leaving for boot camp.
Leaving
So
for
I
boot
was
camp.
a future soldier. I already swore in. I was just leaving for boot camp. I had a signed contract and everything.
And you did not go to college in order to pursue to take care of your kids, correct?
I went to college to leave it as a E3 instead of
It's
E1.
an E1, yeah. What amazes me is we look at, as we were saying earlier, we look at that one line that may say convicted felon or that you've done this, that, and the other. And we don't look at the body of work that people have done afterwards. I think that speaks volumes. You've accomplished more than I would say most of us sitting here. And to be denied a job because you literally, and sometimes you have to pat them on the back. You'll say, hey, listen, what you've done for me really made a difference in my life. I'm a changed citizen. Let's just say whatever it is I did, I actually meant to do, but now I'm a better man. So now reward me for being a better man. Allow me to be a man and allow me to have a job to do what I need to do. But that's not what we do because we like to brand people as what you once were. And what annoys me is the fact that we have success stories. You could just take Jay-Z or whosoever else. They're admitted to drug dealing and this, that, and the other. Today, they're not even seen in the same light. They're seen as businessmen. And if we can have that success on a larger scale and they can go out and make money for you, like athletes, like whosoever else, then we can have it on a smaller scale with people in our community. I think it's a way of just trying to hold us back. You made a mistake 10, 15, 20 something odd years ago. Depending on the crime, I don't see why we're even talking about it.
Well, sir, this is no longer a plantation. This is prison. No longer are we bound by chains. We are bound in our mind. This is mental slavery. This is a profitable business. This
Yes,
is
it is.
$80 billion a year. $80 billion a year for prison. We have Michael Jordan's investing into the prison system, BET, MTV. We have a lot of big name companies who are investing in prisons because I know if I put my money in that prison, I'm getting my
Guaranteed
return.
return.
You are looking at between $35,000 to $65,000 off each inmate. I'm telling you, it cost me $10,000 to get my bachelor's at FSCJ because of the crime bill that Bill Clinton signed, or was that Ronald Reagan or Bill Clinton?
Ronald Reagan did the initial for the war on drugs, but then Bill Clinton turned around and said
He took out the financial aid. If inmates that have nonviolent offenses or inmates who have less than 10 years should automatically be given the opportunity to go to college in prison. The chances of a person that has a college education, has been arrested, who has a convicted felony is less chance to violate because I had too much to lose. I was given a second chance. I got my degree. I want to use it. I don't want to turn back to the streets. So that's the big problem that I see. There's no reform in prison. That you can go be a barber. You can train dogs. You can get your Class A or your EVAC. But to me, those little trades were not leading to success for the youthful offenders that went to prison. because when I was in prison, I made a lot of strong bonds. I'm talking about because we're on lockdown 20 hours a day. You better get along with this man. We all get out. We're all on Facebook. This ain't work for me. We need better resources while we're in prison. If I'm going to invest $35,000 in you, you better come out and do the right thing. But that's not the case here, because $35,000 this year, I'm gonna give him 20 years of probation. If he violates one time,
he goes back.
$60 million on my investments.
Yeah. No, I agree. We were talking about this, pre-edit. You got to think, like, listen, the difference between me and you, right, is you had an incident where you ended up getting caught. I've done just as equal amount of stupid things that you have done, and I have not got caught. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it doesn't make it any difference, or it doesn't hold any other weight. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter, okay, well, listen, that to me, when you tell your story, is just a simple mistake. Not necessarily not a simple mistake, but I can understand that.
Yeah.
Drinking does changes. I think I was having a conversation with my wife. Drinking changes your personality. It's a proven fact. That's the reason why they don't want you to drink and drive. It does that. You think you can do things that you can't do, or things get misconstrued, or you push a little harder than you normally would. But something like that. Okay, so they took away 2 years, then turn around and give you 5 years probation, right?
3 years.
3 years
of house arrest. And because of my mind, I just went to school and I turned on this paperwork to my judge. And he said, you know what? I see the change. I see your effort. Instead of 3 years, I'm going to give you a year and a half. So I was released a year and a half.
So you had a total of 3.5 years. And see, that's the thing that I don't understand. And that's the thing. And you're right when you're talking about it from the aspect. You're right. The Jay-Z's and they go to jail, or Meek Mills. Don't get me wrong. Like, first of all, I'm not a fan of Meek Mills anyway, so I really don't care anyway. But you got to think like that. Meek Mills, but I'm not a fan of him. But I can understand what he was saying. He did something when he was younger, right? And then he had a permit for when he was doing his music video, and then he was doing wheelies in the street. You know what I mean? And then they put him up. So then you got these situations where the judge is holding the gavel over him and literally has this man in jail because she's not a fan. You see what I'm saying? And I think personally, when you sit down and talk about that, okay, this man has all these pieces of paper to prove that he's worthy, right? You set him up and you put him up against somebody who half these people, especially not our generation, but the generation below us, they ain't got shit. They're not doing shit. You see what I'm saying? And then you got, okay, well, listen, this kid, he can go get the job, right? Not even be qualified for the job. They'll figure it out how they go. You know what I mean? But then in this situation here, look at you, you're qualified. First of all, Jacksonville is a city where it's a shit ton of work. It's a shit ton of warehouse jobs. So you have a forklift. And I see the sign every time. As I'm driving down the road, you know what I mean? I see Pepsi and I see the sign, forklift operator. So you already have that. So why are we having this conversation? Why he has the paperwork and can prove that he can do it. I don't have a forklift. But I bet you if I go up to the job and they look at my record and be like, all right, well, we'll train him as he goes. That doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? But then when he's talking about having that conversation where we're saying, okay, well, listen, the private, and I'm so happy that it's gotten to the situation now where the private industry is starting to finally release its hold on the prison system, so we can get back to, being able to put some money, invest some money back into the prison system. But the thing is, okay, a 2-year degree, if I'm already paying taxes, right? And let's take a look at it from a business perspective, right? If I'm already paying, and I have to pay sales tax, state tax, every tax that you can think of, I gotta pay, right? So I'm already paying sales tax for you, right? Because you're in jail, right? So if I'm already paying my sales tax and I'm already paying my state tax, right? Why can't, and that's not no cheap amount of money. Why can't that money, since I'm already paying for you, why can't I use it to invest in you? Like, why can't I change that? You see what I'm saying? Like, why can't my sales tax that I pay for the state go to get you education? Or because even if you think the sales tax that you collect from, let's say, your District 10, right? The sales tax that you collect from 43,000 people, do you think that sales tax would equate for a professor to step into that prison Monday through Friday and teach them, and educate them. Why does he have to get out, do it on his own time? Then he's stuck on house arrest.
Mhm.
So it's not like he can go out and figure out. And if he does, he has a set time to be there and get back. I mean, and then the chances that you have, okay, well, if I'm paying my sales tax, that professor, you know what he does when he clocks out? He go home, he go to his big old house with his Maserati, and okay, a little bit of extra money for him to go into school, because he should have walked out of the jail with those certificates. He should have walked out everything. He should have walked out with all that.
Now, it'll probably be hard to make an argument to a lot of folks that he should walk out with a straight degree. And the only reason being is because the people on the outside are going to make, well, we have to pay for our degree. That's going to be the argument. But to walk out with a trade to help make sure he doesn't come back here, absolutely. I see no reason why not. To give him, we take a couple classes to say, hey, listen, because in my opinion, this is me. I wouldn't give him a full degree, but I sure would give him credit classes. Have him come down here, sit in there. And listen, so when he gets ready to release, I say, listen, you're already X amount of credits, toward an AA. So it's just a matter of you going out and finishing this, and you'll have an AA degree. You know what I mean? I think some credits will be encouragement for him to go out and do what he needs to do and further. Sometimes if we give people all of what it is, there are people who will abuse the system.
You know what I recommend for like people that's getting into politics and lawyers, state attorneys? I believe that they should do an internship, 1 year in county jail and 1 year living as a felon. Because I guarantee you,
I don't even think it should be politicians. I think it should be law enforcement should do it. If you want to be a police officer,
yeah, they had a show like Undercover.
Boss.
Not Boss. They had like undercover people that was put in the jail. There's a show like that.
Okay.
But until you know my pain, like nobody would understand. You want to have the best opportunity for somebody getting out. They have the best chance at freedom, for family, for their faith. Because this is a big population of people. We're talking about 1 in every 3 people have a criminal background. Just think about the generations that this one mistake can have effects on the family. You go to the east side, the daddy's been arrested. So now the son sees daddy in and out of jail. He's more likely to say, you know what, it's cool, it's all right.
Yeah.
So we have to break the generational curses of the image that we are portraying.
There's a culture shift that has to take place. We way over here in Town Center, and I drove. I live
First
on
of
the
all,
north.
I'm giving
I
out
know.
We're not in the Town Center.
We're not at all.
I don't. But I drive past my neighborhood, and I live over in Edgewood, and I got some corner boys, and I sit out there and I talk to them for a little bit. Now I take my behind inside. But what I notice is 5, 6, man, my corner is packed. 8, 9, that's how you know who ain't got a job and who's not. Because the other boys, they inside. I don't know what they go do to get themselves ready for tomorrow, but when I drive home, my corner will be empty. Rain don't make them go in. Bad weather, drama on the street, that won't make them go in. But they know they have to be up and early to start their job in order to do. So jobs change lives. If I have a place to go, I don't want to get that information. No, I think I will. So when I was younger, when I was like 14, 15, I worked at a grocery store, and we were going through hard times at my house. We did not have anything to eat. And unfortunately, I was really good with the cash. And so we had a till. And I said, well, listen, $3 here makes a difference of us eating. Churches had a $2 special. Me and my mom's, we broke half on it. And that went on for a good little bit until things finally changed in our life. And me having the relationship I had, I was like, listen, I did the wrong thing. So then afterward, it was $5 you were short and $5 you were over. So when my situation changed, I made sure I slipped them $3 back in the register. And I saw there was a police officer that was doing the same thing down at JSO. It was a few years back. He had $500,000 of loose cash in his drawer. He was using it as a personal bank. They arrested him, obviously. Afterwards, gave him a real light sentence. You know why? Because he was a good guy. He was a good guy before. He's a good guy afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
He just fell on hard times. Well, I'm sitting next to a good guy here. And he had a bad mistake. So why not treat him the same way?
I mean, and that's the thing. Like when we sit down to talk about it, because I am a pretty much a native of Sweetwater. That's where I play ball. That's me. We look at Sweetwater now to compare to when I was growing up. It's gotten a little bit worse. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's that situation where like they say. And that's the problem too. Like once you get out, you never go back.
Mm-hmm.
But I was one of those kids that I was fortunate enough that I was always in the suburbs. I stayed in the suburbs. I literally left the suburbs to go to the hood to go play.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then so everything that you see and know of me from the streets that I know now, that was a choice that I made.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even live that life. You see what I'm saying? But okay, there's situations like that. Yeah. Stealing a little bit of money here from there. That's something that I did. You see what I'm saying? Listen, right now, I'm a habitual speeder. You know what I mean? This is what I do. You know what I mean? But my thing is, when we sit down and talk about it, like, okay, right, there's a corner boy, and that corner boy is doing what he's got to do, right? Okay. But when we really sit down and break it down and say, okay, well, listen, did we really find out why he's on the corner? Do we know why he's on the corner?
Mm-hmm.
Is he on the corner because he just got out and he's made every effort to just get a simple job? Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's. I mean, all these different fast foods that are open up. And they're like, no. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then, then he goes back to doing what he's supposed to do. He goes back to doing what he knows. Because we're a creature of habit. So you're always going to do what you know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's and that's the reason why you'll see like, okay, and you have a nonprofit, and this nonprofit's supposed to help. You have Jack's Job Corps. You have all these different nonprofits. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to take a person who has done something wrong and change their direction to have them avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I love the pre part. I love the pre part. What about the post part?
Yeah.
And that's the problems that we're having. Okay, well, this is great. This is all the money that we're spending so that way we can avoid this situation. This is the money that we're spending after it happens.
Yeah.
And it's little to none. And that's why, like, I'm sitting there and I'm working with a couple different people now, and we're taking the time out to go into the jails and teach them, because what I don't want, and not even just as Black people, just our people, just people in general. Mm-hmm. What I don't want is that man has a stack of papers right there. That man has a stack of papers that puts him over 6 figures. Yeah. Right? 6 figures. Right there. Everything that he has in that book puts him over 6 figures. Right? But he can't get the it's not even a fair shot. But you know what? It's not even he's just trying to get on the same playing field. You see what I'm saying? But you know what we have? We have LGBT community that, when they speak up about their rights, we hear about it.
We had no rights. I had no rights.
Exactly.
I don't care nothing about voting, carrying a gun. I'm not even about that life. I want a job. Simple, basic math. Good employment, good house, nice wife. I'm never going back. Just like that. Like, I don't understand that there's some type of secret equation, some business calculus formula that they're doing a study on ex-offenders, but I'm telling you, it's not that hard. If I'm able to work with kids, that's my purpose. That's my passion in life. And I'm not hurt about making 6 figures. I'm hurt about not working with people who've made a simple mistake, or young men that's at Eugene Gilbert Middle School that has no understanding of what a bank card, credit card, about any simple things like that, driver license, just how to live a good, functional life. That's the population I want to work with.
I think that even before Jarvis and me, you had a conversation. The first time I met you, we were talking about what were you doing? You were pitching some idea to somebody at court. Do you remember that? The first conversation we had?
Yeah.
And before I even met you, like, I had no idea about the justice system and when you go to jail, like what the consequences were. And I think that just goes to show how far removed people are from that. Because when you think about jobs or if you think about commercials or anything, it never includes the population of who went to jail or ex-cons or anything like that. You guys are being left out of every conversation.
Well, you got to think, man. It's only in our bubble. If it doesn't fit in our bubble, it doesn't.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
And I mean, a job. I mean, damn. You know what? I have left jobs, and probably in the worst condition I could probably leave. I've got up and walked away from jobs. I'm like, listen, I'm done with this. I hate this job. I hate you all. I'm out. You know what I mean?
But it's easy for you, like you said, because you don't have anything, against you. So I think that really sucks. Before I think we started talking a little bit more about reform. So we do have city council candidate over here, Kevin Monroe, for District 10. So tell us a little bit more about your story and about your America.
So
that's kind of hard. You just made that.
no, I mean the thing about it is this. You hit it on the head when we were talking earlier. The position I'm going for, city councilman, you can only do so much, but that's where you need the community for. That's the whole point of it. It's that liaison between the community and what's going on in the city. And if you're not encouraging people in your community to do something, we've got a difference of culture, and we have to shift that. When I said corner boy, I didn't mean drug dealer. I meant a dude that stands on the corner. That's what he does all day. That's who he is. I know a bunch of corner boys. They're not selling drugs up there. It might be one dude that I know that's selling up drugs up there, but he's just there. He's there. They're there. They get together. It's a barbershop without chairs. Basically, they talk. They this, that, and the other. I heard about the rapper that got shot. I heard about that there when I went in to get some honey buns. That's where I heard that. When 9/11 happened, I got off the school bus, and the dudes there were talking to me. They stopped me. They brought me over there and said, "Hey man, listen, you heard about what happened in New York?" I said, "Yeah, I seen it on TV." Man, that's crazy, right? We stood there and talked. Dudes I've never talked before and did not talk to afterwards. We stood on there and talked. And for these guys up here, now, it depends on what you consider a good example. They drunk. It was public drinking. But so what? I mean, what are they doing? I never saw a fight up there. Never saw a fight up there. And when it's time for them to go home, get some food finally in their system, and get ready for work, they go home. These are the things. Go ahead.
So I have a question. What district are you running for?
District 10.
I'm not familiar with the districts. What location is District 10?
So basically, it starts over there by Reebok Scenic. It cuts in and includes Reebok. It goes over there to Sutel. It covers Pritchard Road, and it follows the expressway all the way to Collins Road. And it kind of bobs and weaves because they draw the districts.
You said all the way to Collins?
Collins Road, yeah. Where the new Costco is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with having corner boys, what does their help look like?
So, this is the thing. If you have a candid conversation, like I said, the ones that I know, they have a job. I catch them downtown, say, man, you need a ride? No, we good. We want to catch the bus. We want to go through the way. I've got young men who are on my corner, and I've tried my best to work with them. I had one guy, I don't know if you remember, I'm not going to say names, but there was a young man that was shot in Grand Park after he had a police chase. He got out, he waved a pistol at the police officer, and the police officers put him down. And I'm neighbors with them. And he's got she might have been 60, 70 at the time. It was grandma. That was all he had there with him. He had a sister, but it was there. His parents actually were killed while he was a very young age. And his grandma tried to make up a lot of things for that one thing. So she gave him a lot of things. And in my personal opinion, she should have kind of hold back because I think it gave him more passes on stuff. And so because of it, he was able to get free with some stuff. And he did something. He put two young men that I know in a car with him. And so I come outside, and like I said, my neighbor is quiet. So when something happens, it's rare. And I heard that this incident had happened, and he was shot. And the other two boys, they get whatever's left. You know what I mean? This kid is gone, and so they have to take care of what this is here. For everyone who's there, and I'm going to say this, and when I talk, try to hold back feelings. I want you to think. His death did something for them. it did something that me talking couldn't do. They went and they got jobs. They went and they started really taking a look at them. And a couple of days ago, I walked outside and there was a note on my door. And I got a yard, man. But I went outside. My grass had got a little high. And it was there. It was a handwritten note. And they were like, hey, listen, we cut grass now. So if you want us to slide through, it's 25 or whatever for it. And I was like, shoot, I have a yard man that comes and do it. But I might just tell him to hold off so that he can do it. When we create opportunities, it gives them something else to do. They were in the back of that car because there was nothing else to do in a summer day. We have to, this is something that we cannot look to a government to do. We can't look for a government to create a solution to a problem they created.
I think it's Bishop Guns.
Mm-hmm.
He has that safe home, that safe place, that safe haven in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
I think every community should have one of those. Like a recreational center where people can use free internet, just getting away from sometimes that environment, a fresh breath of air, having these locations set up because they're safe houses. I know if I come there, I can get my work done. I know if I go there, I can see Mr. Kevin there every Thursday night who can help me with my schoolwork. But what I'm trying to get at is we need more positive mentors and community leaders in situations as District 10. And I think that's why you are fit for running that position.
Well, I'll say this, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I guess, and don't get me wrong, I mean, we went to school together, so you know, everybody, 9 times out of 10, everybody end up on the show. I went to school with him, but I applaud you on what you're saying, but what makes you any different from him why you can't run for it? You see what I'm saying? Like why you shouldn't be running for it. Not to say that one would take your 10. But you see what I'm saying? That one rule is what stops you. Because honestly, you know what? And not to say I grew up with him. So I know we grew up kind of the same way. We lived our lives kind of the same way. We've been good friends for years. So, okay, great. I don't know you. But I do know with the accolades that you have and the experience that you have, do you feel, I personally feel the conversations that you would be able to have with that corner boy would actually be a little bit more of a better conversation. You see what I'm saying? Because now I'm talking to you from experience. So I can tell, so when it comes to like, all right, when we sit down and have a conversation, people come to me for business advice all the time. My phone rings. My phone rang on my Father's Day, anniversary, and my birthday, and I had to answer it. And we had business conversations, multiple conversations with people. Free advice I give out. No, I don't give out free advice anymore, but free advice, right? But people come to me because they know that I have the knowledge because I've done it before or I've been there before, right? So when we have this conversation and we're saying, all right, well, he's running for District 10, you got 9, 10, and I don't know. I hate politics with a passion. And I don't even vote. I will clearly say, no, I don't vote. You know, in my opinion, and everybody might hate my opinion. We might get a lot of Twitter posts, but I don't vote because I don't feel like the voting, to me, I don't vote for 2 reasons. One, I don't vote because I don't feel like it's a fair vote. I never feel that way. Even when it's a local vote, because it's always some type of change or something that messes up in the system where votes don't get count. 2, and the second reason why I don't vote is for the people who can't vote. And that's just my belief. Like, that's literally just my belief. Because he can't vote. He can't vote and he want to vote. I can't vote. I don't want to vote. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to do it. I don't really want to go to work. You know what I mean? I don't really want to have to do half the stuff that I do. But stuff like that, we take for granted. Yeah. And people laugh and we joke like, oh, this is that and the third. No, don't you take it for granted. But then if the shoe's on the other foot, and he has the experience to go out here and have this conversation with people and say, hey, this is what life is like in jail. This is life after jail. This is what you can do to turn yourself around. This is what you can do to figure this out. This is what you could, there is still, the key word in this whole entire sentence that we kind of been getting closer to is hope. Hope. You see what I'm saying? And I agree with you. Like, I spend countless of times and hours in trying to figure out different ways. Emerging Black, literally, all we do, that if the business was created for helping Black businesses and helping people to, you know, come together and be able to grow and nourish. But then that's where we're talking about the community. We go into the community. We go in there, we help bring it up. We help try to structure everything out. Because if we don't do it, who gonna do it?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And when we first when we came up with the idea and birthed it, I mean, it was something that I don't want to say people laughed at us about.
They didn't like the name.
They didn't
for
like the
sure. They were
name.
like, oh, you guys are going in to help the Black community. And it's like, well, I mean, if not us, then who? And even going over what you were saying about why Jarvis can't be that. Jarvis, you have I almost said ministry, but I guess that's what it is, a ministry, or even a group, Saved by Grace. Tell us more about that, because from what I believe, you are going into these communities and you are, talking about reform and what it means to come out as an ex-con or as an offender in being successful. Or
The greatest thing I learned how to do is love. When you're in a 8x10 cell, you don't get to pick your roommate, your bunkie. So each roommate I experienced was either broke, was either like had bad hygiene. So I had to minister and to love them and to clothe them. I had to buy them deodorant. And guess what? I only got $20 a week, but $20 in prison is a lot of money. It's like $200 out here. I promise you this, $20, you're eat good. So my experiences with individuals who had it worse than me, I was able to relate, and I was able to learn how to love and to be able to build a relationship. People were able to see my character. People were able to see my genuineness. So I just learned that in prison. That was birthed in me. When I was in prison, I used to do Bible studies for the whole dorm. And it was a seed. And when I got out, God seen that I was able to have the honesty and that I was ready to do this. So I'm new with my ministry. I would like to say thank you to the mayor. I reached out to him about my complaints about the justice system. I sent him all these documents and says, you know what, I do help ex-offenders. And he put me with his right-hand man. His name is Damian Cook. He's the grant administrator of Jacksonville. So I met with Damian. That's my brother. And he was able to help me with my legwork as far as putting everything together. And that's how I met another man named Terry Powell, who was over the Don program over Duval County Jail. So between prison, my experiences of not only being a felon, but seeing my other peers drop, I want to make a difference. I say it humbly, but I feel like that God is raising me for a position. I've been out of the job for 8 months, and I just have a heart to love people. I want to make a difference in somebody's life. It's not about money. It's not about anything materialistic. I just want to see somebody with a loving heart and a big smile. And I just want to give people hope and a vision, because without that, people perish. Just everything I've been through, being a father and being a mentor, people have to see this. You have to have accountability in what you do, and that's why I got that. So next year I have my bachelor's degree, and that's it. I'm done with school. It's fun, but I learned more with talking to people and getting in the streets. So wherever really God placed me, that's where it's going to be. So right now I'm just being patient. One of my favorite quotes from Les Brown is better to be prepared with no opportunity than having the opportunity not being prepared. And I feel like I'm prepared for the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. I think you're definitely prepared, man. I think the reason why, we had this panel is to see it from, I mean, everybody can see it from every perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But when you this is those conversations that we have, or these are the shows that we have been airing lately, where it's a situation where let's not sugarcoat the shit. Let's open the door and let's walk straight through it.
So what I really want to do is having peaceful protest. I want to get with other young men or young women who have made mistakes. They don't have to go out and get degrees, but any way of reform, I want to get together and speak with Jack's Chambers, having these conversations with them and allowing them to have lunch with us. Let's eat together. Let's break bread. Let's talk about this.
So let's do this. I mean, some of the things that we do, and as a businessman, I have a shit ton of resources that I probably use them in ways that I use them probably in the wrong ways that I need to anyway. So, but maybe it's something that we can kind of figure out if that's something that we can do. Because I mean, there's a Jack's Chamber of Commerce, there's a Black Jack Chamber of Commerce too. So a lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean? And so I'm a part of the Black Chamber of Commerce. I don't go to the meetings like I should, and I don't keep my dues up like I should. But I mean, that's an avenue. And to me, and it's just having a conversation with you kind of lets me understand that I definitely need to keep that membership up, because it's almost like a door, and I can let you use me as a door to get where you need to go. You see what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
So let's figure out how we can kind of do that. I mean, as far as the protests, I mean, I don't know anything about protests, and I mean, I have my own Black Panther ways.
Listen, I'm almost never against a good protest, but that ain't enough. I love praying,
100%,
but that ain't enough. What we've got to do, and I'm just being real about it, is what we got to do is replace some of the people with that same mindset that we don't like with people that we have that has. I'm going to attack you just a hot second. You don't vote, but you can. He can't vote, and he wants to. You could easily be his voice. Vote for people that you know have. Listen, if you want to change the justice system, change your judges. You want to change the bills that correct me? Change your state legislators, your city council people. It's not a ploy for me. Get whoever doesn't work for you the hell out. Well, there's no reason for it.
So let me ask you this, and I know we're wrapping it up, but and I agree, and I never thought of it like that. So I appreciate you changing my, because I don't vote because but I don't vote because of the fact that, like, all right, well, listen, I have to sit down and do research and figure out who is what and what they're saying. Then you have situations like, where people do things and then they end up going to jail, and they're, our councilman or councilwoman, you know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, and I do say that, but some of that steps takes with educating them. You have to sit down and take the time to educate, and then they don't make these jobs appealing. That's why when you look at Pinterest, not Pinterest, when you look on Instagram and you see we're celebrating a Black judge, like the first young Black judge, we're celebrating, a young Black entrepreneur. We're celebrating the couple that got out to the military and they created their own watches. We're celebrating these things because these are things that you don't see, and they're not appealing jobs to what our culture is normal for. Because our culture is basketball, football, rapper, singer, celebrity. Those are YouTube star. Those are the things that are appealing because it's quick, it's fast, and that's how you're gonna make a lot of money. But when you say, all right, well, listen, you don't hear our kids saying, I want to be a Black judge. I can guarantee you right now, my kids, one of them wants to be, I think, a cop. The other one wants to be, I forgot what she said, a scientist, and the other one today, the other one said he wanted to be an art teacher. You see what I'm saying? Like, those are the things you don't hear judges, and you're right. It is making those changes, but then we have that difficult conversation where, like, okay, look what all we have to go through just to get into that position. You know what I mean? Just to be a judge, or just to be, you got to go through an Ivy League school, and you got to compete against everybody else, and you got to outshine them, and you got to be. And I think I've heard it on every movie. I think Fences, he said it. You have to be twice as good just to be in the same race for the same position.
When we look at our culture, okay, because there are some things that shine more, and a lot of times those are the people who talk about our culture, our hood, a little bit more. You said earlier, when somebody makes a certain amount, they tend to leave, and the reason why they leave is just feel like, hey, we did it. You come on, follow me. But sometimes you do have to go back, because everybody, I work for Head Start. Okay, so I get kids that are from anywhere from 6 months to 5 years old. And I guarantee you, the way I work with them, I have 9-year-olds who still run back and say, hey, Mr. K, I went to the pool at Rains, got in the water. I couldn't look up. A little boy was, hey, Mr. K. And the reason why we work so hard is because we're literally making a difference. We only have them for God knows how long. I file paperwork, I come outside, I play basketball with them. It's just a little bit that touches in there, but we can change this. Rick Ross came to 45th and Moncrief. I still hear dudes talking about it. That's why he ain't been back. I don't even know when the last time he put an album. But they gave him instant love because somebody up here came down here to love on me. So if, I don't know who, on the other side, if they come down there and say, hey, listen, I devoted a little bit of my time to come here with you. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm starting a class. I kind of want to let it. It's called Ordered Steps. And the reason why it's called is because I believe we all have went through roughly the same things, but God has sent us in different directions. And the reason why he sent us in different directions is because we are on an elaborate chess.
Salt.
We're on an elaborate chess piece, and we've got to work to win this. We can't be in the same positions.
Mm-hmm.
We've got different things that we can do, and we got to meet up in the middle
Mm-hmm.
to find out how we do it. And so some of these kids, we look at them and we say, they'll never be nothing. I've got kids who act straight behinds at home. They show me, for some odd reason, the culture, they love to show me videos of them acting like monkeys. I said, well, they never do it here. They never do it here. He knows how to walk here. He knows how to talk here. She knows she don't rip nothing up in her. But that's a culture we created here at this school. Now, if at the house you're not doing the same thing, baby, I don't know what to tell you. Because when he hit the door, he acts right here. And we've got to create that same culture at home, in the neighborhood, as we have made in our school. When we do that, we ain't got to do much else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think pretty much we'll have to take some time to really dig into this. I mean, I appreciate everybody coming. We always hear.
She always hear.
Yeah, we always hear. But these are these conversations that this season has by far probably been the best season that we've done. Every episode has been. It's not light stuff. It's stuff that we really need to talk about.
Very
Unfortunately,
insightful.
Kenny's behind the scene, and I know he probably want to say
Shout out, Trey,
probably different
Trey
stuff.
Navarro.
Yeah, but I mean, I think walking away with this episode is a ploy to put something together. Put something together. It's a lot of powerful brains in this room right now.
Mm-hmm.
So putting something together to be able to get you to that next step, get us to the next step, figuring out what it needs to be. I think we can kind of come up with something.
So before we close this episode really quickly, for people who might be listening, who are going through, those things, who feel like there is no hope, particularly people who may have been in jail or something like that, really quickly, Kevin and Jarvis, give them some hope. Give them a little bit of advice, something just for them to hold on a little bit while longer. What would you say to them?
You can go first, Kevin.
I don't know where you peel your hope from. I don't know where it is. I get mine from the Lord. I ain't ashamed to say
Come
it.
on, somebody.
And I get it from watching some of the kids in my classrooms that I have. Yesterday was bad. Might have been effed up. Tomorrow can be way better. But did you prepare for it to be better?
All right. My favorite quote is by me. And it says, I'm not a label of crime, but I'm a product of second chances. There's a big difference between a label and a product. And I'm a product of giving a second chance. So it is your mindset, young men, young women coming out those bars, or whoever you are, young and old. If you have the mindset, it is endless opportunities, because if you look at a star, you're not looking at the star of today. You're looking at the star of yesterday. And that's the problem with the community. They're looking at my past and they are not realizing that I'm a star. And everybody's a star, regardless of how bright you shine or how big you are. Always know that you are a star, and always shine at your lowest points. That's very important. When you're low, make sure you're shining. And to set yourself apart, I'm telling you, get away from people who's dragging you down. You need people who's adding into your life, who's multiplying. You need to just wake up and find that purpose in your life. That's why so many people violate, because they are leaving prison without purpose. It's very important to know your purpose. It's very important to know how to get to your goals. Do not be afraid to reach out to other people who's been successful. You need to establish yourself a network. Jesus Christ started with the multitude. Then he went down to 70. Then he went down to 12. But you primarily only hear about 3 people. That's Peter, John, and James. Find you a small circle who's going to hold you accountable in everything you do. It's important to have relationships. It's important to have accountability. And it's important to know who you are. So I leave you with that. Knowing who you are, waking up every day. I'm Jarvis Guthrie, and nobody's going to change my mind. Nobody's going to tell me anything different. And stop worrying about people's opinions of what you are dressing like, what you got. These are perishable items, but having purpose and having joy is eternal. So that's how I leave you with that.
Oh, that was powerful. That was extremely powerful. As we can see, today's episode was super awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Black Spark Cafe. We appreciate. Never do that. Thank you guys for tuning into Black Spark Cafe podcast. I really appreciate it. As you can see, today's episode was super awesome. Thank you to our special guests, Jarvis Guthrie and Kevin Monroe. District 10, y'all. District 10.
Why you said his name like that?
I don't know. I just felt like I needed it. Was a, don't forget, connect with us via Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Emerging Black. Thank you guys. And don't forget, what is it?
The handle is eBlackNews.
At eBlack News.
Yeah.
Don't forget to hashtag Merge Black. See you guys next week.